till I came here.
Fairy Teru. Fairy Tale. Good game. It's good enough where he's put in like 100 hours, almost 100 hours. It's kind of grindy. Well, there's just a lot to do, a lot of conversations, a lot of dialogue, a lot of cutscenes, a lot of combat. There was a lot. You're doing a board request, upgrading the guild, a lot of talking, going from one spot to another, exploring this and that, battling, combat, bonding. It's a full through and through. It's an anime game. Requires about as much time as playing anything else. Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, Digimon, pretty much whatever you can think of. But it was fun though. It was worth it. I was just having a good time playing it. I was happy to play something that's actually good and good quality that I actually like. Good animations. You know, it's tough with these anime games because it's like, I think some of them do meet a fine line between this kind of AAA indie type quality. But this one it's pretty up there. I mean, it's about as good as these games can get. It's still expensive for a reason, because it's not cheap. For the longest time, yeah, I don't know if the game's gone down in price yet, or that's what. It's weird with these games though. Some of them are just like really expensive and they don't drop down at all, or yeah, they might be on sale here and there, but or even maybe not old, but a oldish game can, you know, $5-10 or something. I guess it just depends, but it's just weird because you see these all kind of as like a package deal. Like they're all, for the most part, coming out of the same place, the same studios, give or take. So, as far as the quality, presentation, whatever the criteria, they're all so similar, and I don't know. I don't really understand the price points of these games, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, above the overall aesthetic and atmosphere, what they're charging you for is content. There's just a lot to do, a lot of content. You know, it's a turn-based grid style system, which I'm very much used to, so that was easy to adapt to. Yeah, this game was fun and exciting, and I had a good time, and I mean, to be honest, about halfway through I was kind of ready for it to be over. Like, it kind of did drag on quite a bit, but which is understandable. But I just love the show because the show is so good. It's one of my top 5-10 animes easily. It's right up there with Soul Eater and Naruto, blah blah blah. It's just so good. I feel like it'd be so weird to come across someone who doesn't like Fairy Tail, because it's like, it's just, everything's there. What more do you want? Half of my channel is based off of Fairy Tail, like the guild and training, and kind of something I chose like way ahead of time to have something to base my stuff on. Like a guild, like we're all training together, we're all part of the same team, on the same side, doing stuff together, getting to know each other. That's my favorite part about Fairy Tail, is just the characters and the bonding, and you know, who are you, and are we compatible, and what differences do we have, and similarities, and you know, we're all kind of under the same roof at the same place at the same time in real time together. And it's just fun. Like I named my currency, this is like Twitch stuff, by the way. It's doubloons, which I got from Neopets. But when you think of doubloons, you think of like pirates. These guys are kind of, it's got that piratey theme. This isn't One Piece or whatever, but you know, kind of just these guys who are just, they don't have like a job. That's their job, is being in the guild and doing requests, and they all help each other and support each other and build off of each other's trust and friendships and relationships, maybe even. Well, there's not a lot of that, I guess, thankfully, but it'd be kind of weird. It's like dating your coworkers or something. Yeah, I don't remember the currency. I think they just use yen in this game. I don't remember what the Fairy Tail currency is. Never really, you get kind of lost after a while. It might be gil, it might be money, like MUNNY, it might, who knows half the time. Could be zennies, it could be just yen straight up, could be just, but yeah, the doubloons, the guild, it's all kind of this like epic adventure, kind of fun quest mission type theme. It's just good. When I first really started to watch some of these animes, it was like 2015-ish. It was like my first time having my own Netflix and just watching all these animes, getting really caught up and just binging, and oh, it was so good. Especially when you have like your own place-ish with the roommate or whatever, and you got your... This is when I was on my PS3 and I still had a big fat glass screen TV and some like mediocre internet. But man, especially summertime and just that sense of freedom and like early 20s. This is when I was watching Fairy Tail and all these other really good shows and animes that only in the past few years I've just been playing the games of. Tokyo Ghoul, Psycho Pass, like it keeps kind of adding up, and every single one that I play, I'm just so happy, and God, I love anime games. They bring me joy and like so much more to the table than most other games. Because most other games only offer so much and they do so little, and they don't really speak to me or who I am, only so much to a point. Like, yeah, I'm interested in this or I'm interested in that, but it never really goes there. So yeah, cutscenes are good.
悪魔と妖精の戯れが俺にて襲撃。ど 少し遊んでやろうか。三代目フェアリーテイル機。
Yeah. Decent cell shading. Between like all the different cutscene styles, like, oh, there's text, but you have to read it, and they might make some noises here and there, and then, oh, they're actually talking, but with the text dialogue, pop-ups, little bubbles, and usually these games have like a few different things like that, and then the cutscenes, the actual cutscenes are good. I mean, I've seen better. My favorite type of cutscenes in these kind of games is the ones where it's literally anime. Like, this one definitely stayed in the realm of the whole cell shading thing, which is fine, but I've seen better cutscenes elsewhere, but... And you'd think for this game there'd be like a... It would have had that kind of quality style cutscenes thrown in there because... You know, you're thinking this is a fairly high premium anime game for the most part. I guess the closest thing they had to the actual show was... There was like some screenshots. And it's funny because the screenshots they use for like a... You know, a background for like 5 minutes or whatever during certain sections. Because this game, between when I watched the show and then now, I don't remember where this game exactly started and ended. But I remember most of, like, it's literally the show. Like, that's just what these games do, is whether it's a certain section or sections. But they literally, during those same sections from the show, for some of the time, they put actual legitimate screenshots. And it's funny because you could see the screenshots and like, you can tell they're like really old. Show's been around for a minute. And then it's like this really dark palette, dark color tone versus like this really bright, vibrant presentation that's most of the game. So that kind of was weird to see a little bit, but I'm glad they put it in there. I don't know why. You know, you think of the development, it's like, did they literally like take a screenshot of the show and like just slap it on in there? I've never seen that before, so it kind of threw me off. Like, normally these games are kind of so game based, like, they stay away from the enemy as far as like taking some, like, it's all done in the same exact way sequential wise, but like they don't really ever like copy and paste something over just like that. Because like even the anime cutscenes, I don't remember, like in Sword Art Online Alicization Lycoris, for example, it's hard to tell if they took like literal sections of the show or like made their own separate little scenes just for the game. I don't know. But that kind of like realism, that realistic style, that traditional, what you would perceive as the actual show, I don't know, just something that threw me off. Yeah, you got like all the cool locations, you got all the characters, everyone's here, everything's there. I think one of the most interesting things was just exploring Fiore and the hometown and getting to know it a little bit better, and the architecture and the scenery, and because, you know, usually in the show it's kind of like, you know, cuts from here to there and then you only really grasp so much of like the settings. That's what's nice about games. You can pace yourself and take your time and look around and enjoy the world You know, it's not just a 20-25 minutes of the show and it goes by and you move on, and this is more like you get to really kind of just take it all in. Yeah, there's not really any downs. I mean, there's not really a lot of downsides. They squeeze so much in there that it's kind of hard to give it any, like, even think of like any problems or issues. I didn't really have any. The only thing for me would have been just like, hey man, I'm when you're doing like 50 hours ish, depending on how you play, sure, but it's usually when I get my fix. Like, I don't. 100 hours is about my limit, to be honest, like in most big-ish games like this, because like, dude, unless it's like a everyday game or an online game or a live service or whatever, it just doesn't really make sense to put all that time into. I like Fairy Tail, but not that much. You know, I'm not sitting here like trying to make it my main game I play every day. It wouldn't be hard to do, I guess, because there's always something more you could do, like upgrades and get a bunch of money and get even stronger, and there's a lot of weird little nitpicky things you could do to kill time, but I can always come back to the game. I can always do more if I really wanted to. I mean, it's always gonna be there, so but I did as much as I could. I maxed out as, you know, within that initial playthrough up until I actually finished and completed the game. I did as much as I could. That way I would have felt comfortable leaving it at a good spot. You know, versus like just rushing through and playing the main part of the game. Because that's half the fun, is doing all the side stuff, and it's content. Everything in these games, just because it's so similar to the show, it's not the show. It's all basically brand new information and knowledge and wisdom to take in and to learn from. It could be, if you think of it from a lore perspective, or just simply like, oh, I didn't know that, or oh, this is cool, I've never seen that before. That's what's nice about these games. Like, depending on how much you're a fan on the original licensed content, like, yeah, you may or may not even need to play this game if that's all you're looking for, is just like, oh, it's more or less the same thing. You don't really need to play it. But I think especially as a casual fan, it's like, well, hey man, there's, or even as an actual fan, it's still, you know, this is my argument with anime games, is like, even if you're not a gamer, let's say, for example, but you're just an anime lover, dude, you play these games. That's being a weeb. That's showing love to the franchises and series that you like. If you like the show that much, you'll play these games. It just makes sense. And it was interesting because I watched all this in English, and then I played the game and it's all Japanese, so like I kind of got a taste of both angles. And obviously usually whoever would have voiced the Japanese in the show would have voiced the Japanese in the game, so there you go. I mean, hey, if I can play an anime game with English in it, I'm all about it, but that doesn't happen like ever. Really enough, the only English things I've played, which aren't even anime, but I mean, on top of like Japanese versions, would have been like Yakuza or Judgment. Yeah, it's weird to think about it. Every anime game I've played, it's Japanese. There's some English games out there like that, but at least the ones that I go for, they're either not big enough or, you know, you only really get that with like Persona or like, I don't remember if that newish One Piece game was English. I don't know. Dragon Ball Z is in English. Just things like that. Things are that are a little bit. It's not really. Yeah. Gameplay is good.
任せたぞ。
熱流王子フライ試練爆雷で
Yeah, this is a good time. Like I said, it could have been shorter. Because with all the anime games I've played, at least so far, it's weird. Because I feel like they're all decently long, but there are a few that have done where now I'll play a day of them, or oh, I did what I wanted to do, or oh, they'll be cut up in episodically to where you'd have to like purchase each episode, or maybe I just wanted to try it out and do one episode, and if I like it enough, get the rest. It all really depends. And I've never played Persona or Dragon Ball, so those kind of bigger, more available. Never played. I've played one Naruto game. I'm so used to these games all being pretty fairly long or not long, like at all. I don't think I've ever really done one where it was kind of this nice in between, like 50-ish hours. It usually ends up being really short or really long. And it's kind of weird. And these are supposed to be long. I'm glad they do that, but it's like, you know, hey man, I like your game, but I don't want to play it fucking for like a month straight, you know? Like, eventually I gotta like move on and play other stuff too. Granted, it was all optional. It was my choice to play that much of the game, but I mean, I'm proud of it. At least I can say I did it, but it's just tough because like with the music got really repetitive after a while, and like, you know, you're more or less doing the same exact thing over and over and over. The combat was like kind of fun and all, but it was like, God, it just got to be much. Like, and especially everything is moving so quick, like, which is good. I guess that's better than slow, but especially with the gameplay. Like, sometimes it made me like dizzy and just like, you know, sensory overload, because it's just like boom, 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 and obviously you're in a rush and you just want to get it done and move on and do your battle, and then the next one. Yeah, it just got to the point where like they're really nice animations, like the battling system, but then I kind of compare it to like Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, for example. That game was a lot nicer at kind of like not messing with your eyes as much. Like there was like a nice pacing to the battling, like, but this game was just like this game needs to slow down a bit, man. Or like in Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, like the few animations you get of like an actual attack, but at least you can take it in, at least you can process what's happening. Like, this game is just like, I know they're trying to go for this epic, like, Fire Dragon Soul Fist or whatever Natsu says. Fire Dragon Wing Attack or Iron Fist or whatever. But you know, 2 seconds later it's on to the next move, the next person. You always have about 1 to like what 5 whatever. You have like a team. It's like a team-based thing. I don't know, like the combat, you do so much of it after so long, and it's just like, holy cow, man. It wasn't even necessarily the game that dragged on, it was the combat for me. And then when you think of Final Fantasy, you know, it's just like, oh, you go up like old school Final Fantasy, not like 7 remake or whatever. Ugh. But like, you know, you pick your move, you do a little slash, a little spell, a little, and then you move on. This was like, and then on top of it being as quick as it is, you're also spending the time to pick and choose your moves and not run out of SP or whatever it was called, MP, I don't know. And since it's a grid system, you kind of have to, you know, be proficient and or efficient. Like, hey, do your damage, equalize out your damage output, focus on one guy. But the problem, one thing I had a problem with is like, okay, I have this set of moves with this character with the team I just happen to have. Yeah, I can maybe knock out everybody or do some damage to everybody, you know, equal it out, or focus on one person at a time. You have that choice, but what ends up happening is when you have this whole variety of moves, you only end up doing one move so often because that's what's going to end up being the most useful in most situations. So you're not even able to really make great use of the entirety of their movesets because like I've just seen it done better elsewhere. That's the thing. Like with your moves, you want them to count and to matter and to make a difference and kind of do things the way you want to, and it was kind of a limiting definitely wasn't my favorite combat system. But then again, I'm playing this for the story and stuff. I'm not really playing it for the, you know, all the magical spells and... But it's such a big integral part of the game. That's half the content right there. So like, it's just, you know, whatever though, but it's still a good game nonetheless. Yeah, is it? Yeah, another bad thing is you got a lot of DLC or like couple levels here and there. There's some like outfits and customization, but it's pretty limited within the game. Yeah, I like this game enough where it would have been cool to buy all their costumes, because there's so many of them, but it's so expensive. Like, not only is the game expensive, but even if you want to like get all their extra stuff, which normally I don't really care about, or some games may or may not even have a lot of that kind of stuff available, but I don't know. I like cosmetics and stuff, but sometimes I'm not really willing to like pay for it. But it's one of those things where you put in 50 plus hours and you're like, well shit, now I want to get some costumes. It's kind of late now, but they also only do that kind of stuff because they assume like you're gonna play this game for the rest of your life. And because some of these characters, Like, Kagura is my fairy tale waifu. I would not have minded seeing her in some other costumes, but I mean, whatever. Oh well. But yeah, Fairy Tail. It's a good game.